Her heart pounded like a war drum, trapped in the tightening cage of her ribs, as the three figures closed in, their sneers slicing through the dim light of the empty parking lot. Mia stood frozen, her backpack slipping from her shoulder, its thud against the asphalt echoing like a gunshot in her ears. The air was thick with the scent of rain-soaked concrete and the bitter tang of her own fear. She was 16, small for her age, with a voice so quiet it barely carried past her lips. But tonight, something inside her was waking up, a spark, an ember, a rage that had been smoldering for years. Mia had always been the invisible girl at Westbridge High. Her oversized sweaters and downcast eyes made her an easy target, a shadow slipping through hallways where louder voices reigned. The trio circling her now, Kayla, with her sharp tongue and sharper nails, Jake, whose laughter was a weapon, and Tara, who followed like a loyal hound, were the architects of her daily torment. It started with whispers in class, mocking notes stuffed into her locker, and escalated to shoves in the cafeteria. But this, cornering her in the deserted lot after debate club, was new. It was bold. It was dangerous. "You think you're so smart, huh?" Kayla taunted, stepping closer, her breath visible in the chilly autumn air. "Always hiding behind those books. What's the matter, Mia? Too scared to talk now?" Jake chuckled, kicking a pebble that skittered toward Mia's sneakers. Tara crossed her arms, smirking, her silence as menacing as the other's words. Mia's hands trembled, clutching the straps of her fallen backpack. She wanted to run, to disappear, but her feet felt glued to the ground. The parking lot was a gray wasteland, bordered by flickering streetlights and the distant hum of traffic. No one was coming to help. The school was a dark silhouette behind them, its doors locked tight. Mia's mind raced, replaying every insult, every shove, every moment she'd swallowed her pain. Her mother's voice echoed in her head. "Stay kind, Mia. Don't let them change you." But kindness hadn't stopped the bruises on her arms or the ache in her chest. Kindness hadn't kept her safe. Kayla leaned in, her face inches from Mia's. "Say something, freak." That word, freak, ignited something. Mia's breath hitched, and her eyes, usually soft and averted, locked onto Kayla's. The spark inside her flared. Years of silence, of biting her tongue, of pretending it didn't hurt, surged into a single, molten moment. Her voice, when it came, was low but steady, a growl from somewhere deep. "Back off." The trio froze, startled by the sound. Jake laughed, but it was nervous, cracking at the edges. "What was that?" he mocked, stepping closer. "You gonna cry now?" Mia's fists clenched, nails digging into her palms. The rage wasn't just anger. It was every sleepless night, every tear she'd hidden, every time she'd blamed herself for their cruelty. It was the weight of being unseen, unheard, unloved by a world that rewarded the loud and the cruel. "I said back off." Her voice erupted, a raw, primal scream that echoed across the lot. The bullies flinched, their confidence wavering. Mia's chest heaved, her small frame seeming to grow taller, fiercer. She stepped forward, her eyes blazing. "You think you can break me? You think I'm nothing? I've been quiet, but I'm not weak. I'm done letting you win." Kayla's smirk faltered, but she doubled down, shoving Mia's shoulder. "You're still a nobody," she spat. That shove was the final straw. Mia's hand shot out, grabbing Kayla's wrist with a strength she didn't know she had. The move was instinctive, born from years of suppressed fury. Kayla yelped, trying to pull free, but Mia held firm, her voice dropping to a chilling whisper. "Touch me again, and you'll regret it." Jake lunged forward, but Mia's glare stopped him cold. "Try it," she dared, her voice ablade. Tara backed away, eyes wide, muttering something about leaving. The dynamic shifted. Mia, the quiet girl, was no longer prey. She was a storm, and they were caught in it. Jake hesitated, then grabbed Kayla's arm. "Come on, she's not worth it." They retreated, their footsteps quick and uneven, their taunts replaced by stunned silence. Mia stood there, trembling not with fear, but with the aftershocks of her own power. As their shadows vanished into the night, Mia sank to her knees, the adrenaline draining away. Tears streamed down her face, not from sadness but from relief, from release. She'd faced them. She'd fought back. For the first time, she felt like she belonged to herself. But the victory was only the beginning. The next day at school, Whispers followed her. Some kids stared in awe, others with suspicion. The story of the parking lot had spread, twisted and exaggerated by the rumor mill. Kayla and her crew avoided her, but their absence didn't erase the challenge. Mia's outburst had changed her, but it hadn't changed the world around her. She still felt the weight of being the quiet girl, the one who didn't fit in. Her home life offered little refuge. Mia's mother, Sarah, worked double shifts at the hospital, leaving Mia to navigate her struggles alone. Their small apartment was cluttered with unpaid bills and the ghost of Mia's father, who'd left when she was 6. Sarah loved Mia fiercely but was too exhausted to notice the bruises, physical and emotional, that her daughter hid. Mia didn't blame her, but the loneliness was a heavy cloak. At school, Mia faced new challenges. Some classmates, inspired by her stand, started approaching her, but others saw her as a threat. A group of Kayla's allies spread rumors, calling her unstable, dangerous. Teachers, unaware of the full story, watched her warily. Mia struggled with the attention, both good and bad. She wanted to retreat to her old invisibility, but the fire in her wouldn't let her. She began journaling, pouring her thoughts into a notebook, her words raw and unfiltered. It was her way of processing the rage, the fear, and the hope that flickered beneath it all. One day, a new student, Ethan, noticed her scribbling furiously in the library. He was lanky, with kind eyes and a quiet demeanor that mirrored her own. "You're Mia, right?" he asked, sitting across from her. "I heard what happened." That took guts. Mia tensed, expecting a trap, but Ethan's smile was genuine. Over weeks, they became friends, sharing stories of their own struggles. Ethan's from moving across states, leaving behind a brother in foster care. His presence was a lifeline, showing Mia she wasn't alone. But the bullies weren't done. Kayla, humiliated by the parking lot incident, plotted revenge. She and Jake orchestrated a prank to humiliate Mia at the school talent show, where Mia had reluctantly agreed to read a poem at Ethan's encouragement. They planned to douse her with paint as she performed, a public shaming to reassert their power. Mia overheard their plan in the bathroom, her heart sinking. The old fear crept back, whispering that she'd never escape their cruelty. The night of the talent show, the auditorium was packed. Mia's hands shook as she clutched her poem, a raw piece about breaking free from silence. Backstage, she spotted Kayla and Jake, their smug grins confirming her fears. She almost backed out, but Ethan's steady hand on her shoulder anchored her. "You've got this," he said. "Show them who you are." When her name was called, Mia stepped onto the stage, the spotlight blinding. Her voice wavered at first, but as she read, her words gained strength, each line a defiance of the pain she'd carried. The audience leaned in, captivated by her raw honesty. Kayla and Jake, poised with their buckets of paint, hesitated. Mia's voice, her truth, was a force they couldn't touch. The crowd erupted in applause, and the bullies slunk away, their plan abandoned. That night was a turning point. Mia's poem went viral on the school's social media, shared by students who saw themselves in her words. She started a writing club with Ethan, a safe space for others to share their stories. Kayla's influence waned, her cruelty exposed as hollow. Mia's mother, seeing the video, sat her down for a long overdue talk, promising to be more present. The challenges didn't vanish. Bullies still lurked, and Mia's confidence wavered at times. But she'd found her voice, her people, and her strength. Years later, Mia looked back on that parking lot moment as the spark that changed everything. She wasn't just the quiet girl anymore. She was a writer, a friend, a survivor. Her rage had been a gift, a signal that she deserved better. She learned to balance it with kindness, not for others, but for herself. The world didn't change overnight, but Mia did, and that was enough.